you know, certain ball markers or certain way you used to mark the ball or the number, and it opens a whole can up for people, because I think people worry sometimes. They get a bit obsessive, and is it right? And I'm like, well, superstitions, isn't it?
Well, it's the thing of I can't remember whose it was, but when you look at high performing players, of how similar everything is, we've been talking about in counting about not talking about it as a necessary pre-shot routine, talking as a process. And there's a whole process, and you've got to be comfortable in the process to perform. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you look at the amount of players who will only mark the ball with a certain coin.
Mm-hmm.
They will only play with a certain number.
Yeah.
Because of all of that, if you time them, they take the same amount of time every time on everything. And because of that, they then work through. And you go into every sport about it. You know, there used to be a thing with Paul Ince. He used to walk down a tunnel, and it wasn't till he got to the end of the tunnel that he put his shirt on.
Okay.
Daft things like that. Or, you know, some players, the way you would tie your boot up. And it just means when you're out there, you can actually do what you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what's, I mean, on a base kind of level, and that's sports psychologists should come out much more, but on a base level, that's what superstition is.
Yeah.
Just something that allows you to perform. I guess it's a thought process, a concept in your head.
Yeah. I think, I remember we went on a golf comp. No, we were playing, I think it was English ladies or English girls at Moore Park. And like, do you know Tiff?
Yeah.
So she I think it was her. Round one, she played in waterproofs because it rained.
Yeah.
And the next day, she wore waterproofs again, even though it was like really nice weather, because she felt that she played really well in them. The day before, I'm sure it was Tiff. It rings a bell. It's things like that though that is your brain just taking over and just thinking, okay, that worked, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, you see, so it's always the thing. You like loads of people. Oh, I won't play in a waterproof jacket.
Yeah.
I always remember seeing Sandy Lyon when he was still at the peak of his game, when he was like awesome, and he was playing in a waterproof jacket, and it wasn't zipped up, and he could still play in it.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, I feel comfortable playing in a waterproof jacket. Or a lad I knew was like who signed professional forms at Scunny, and he had a pair of Puma boots, and he put them on so tight that he ripped the tongues out, and they get him a new pair of boots, and then he cut the tongue out of the new boots and tie him and he'd wear the old boots, and he was like, this is the only way I can perform. I've got to have these boots on.
Yeah.
I've got to do that.
Because I think people soon start to believe in that kind of thing, that it's because of the way they've tied their laces or what they've eaten for breakfast or what pants they've put on. The more it happens, and like you were just saying, I think it becomes a norm for them. They don't deviate off that, and they don't kind of lose concentration, or they don't lose focus because they think that's what's won them the competition or the round when they've done it before.
Yeah.
And then it's just that vicious cycle, isn't it? Well, not a vicious one, but it's kind of a cycle, because they play well again. They think it's the shoes or the boots or the laces, and then they play well again, and then suddenly if those shoes break or if they lose a coin or something, they go into absolute meltdown with some of these elite sports people.
Well, Tiger has it with the putter. So that putter, I think, is the fourth. So he won his US amateurs with a ping answer tip. They got off Mark O'Meara. And Scotty Cameron did in 2 or 3 slight variations on it. Different. There was one that was gun blue with an insert and things like that. So eventually, I think it's about his 4th putter was that one. Now, even during the period of time when he wasn't playing, that club would be sat in his practice room, and he'd say it was like his kids, don't even touch it.
Yeah.
You know, you are in deep trouble. And he won't have it replaced. He won't have a backup. The only thing that changes is, you know, a shaft if it's got damaged, or obviously the regrips. So it's worn to buggery. You know, he won't have it refinished or anything like that. So, and he's like, well, this has got all those majors in it. You know, I think he's won 14 or 15 of his majors. No, sorry, he won 14, hasn't he? I think he's won 12 of his majors with that putter.
Wow.
So he's like tied into that. But the other thing is, he also understands why that putter works so important for him. You know, the reason for the grip is very specific to how he likes to hold the handle. The length of it is very specific to how he's going to make the movement. He's then very critical about how a golf ball feels. He's like, I know exactly how a golf ball should perform off that putter. So under pressure, I know things are going to work right. So he's, you know, you can still say he's really tied in superstitiously to that putter.
Yeah.
But he also understands why.
Yeah.
You know, like when he does his club swirls at the end, you know, he spins it. There's a reasoning behind doing it rather than just, oh, right, you know, I won with that last time, so it must be perfect.
Yeah. Do you, have you, from junior golf to now, is there any like clubs or anything in your golf bag that haven't changed or are similar?
I still have the same blue aluminium pitchfork that I've had since I was about 16.
Wow.
Like, it is proper. You know, if you put your hand in there in the wrong way, it like straight in your fingers, sort of thing.
Oh.
But it was always had that pitchfork.
And what was that, a gift or something?
I think it's just one I picked up at the club.
Yeah.
Literally just, I needed to get a pitchfork, and I got that. And I've still got the same backy tin. I still keep my tee pegs in the same backy tin. So no matter what golf bag I've got, so say I swapped over from my carry bag to my tour bag, the same backy tin goes over with my tee pegs, my ball markers, all that are always in there, never changes.
And do you have like specific tees that you use in terms of height and colour?
I always this I've got some for years now. I've used the Pride yellow. So I have the
with the yellow band.
Yeah, so I've got one of those, but I've got the biodegradable ones that don't snap, so they're not wood and they're made of. But so I always have that. But this is a superstition, I guess, but it's part of my. I look at it as part of the process. When I play, one pitchfork, one ball marker, which is a foreign coin. So I've still got, like, you know, when you went to a trip with school, so I've still got some francs and Deutschmarks and things like that, and Japanese coins. So it's always pitchfork, foreign coin, one short tee peg, one long tee peg. That's it.
In your pocket?
That's in my pocket. Never take any more than that out of my bag.
Yeah.
So I never have 4 tee pegs in the bag, you know, 3 or 4 tee pegs and 4 or 5 ball markers or anything like that. That's all that ever sits in my pocket when I play.
Do you wear a glove?
Yeah. Always.
Do you take your glove off when you putt?
Yeah.
And why do you do that?
I didn't wear a glove until after I turned pro.
Okay.
So I used to tape my fingers up if I wore my hands or anything like that. And I never wore a glove. It was like, I can't afford one, so I'll not wear them. Then when I started working in golf trade, started doing a lot of regrips, things like that.
Yeah.
So my hands started getting a lot more damage. So I then started wearing a glove. And although I'll take it off for putting, I won't wear it for chipping.
You won't?
No, I won't wear it for chipping. I even for a while went through a stage of actually having, when I first put a gap wedge in my bag, of having different grips on my sand wedge and my gap wedge to make them feel softer. So strangely, so I could feel like whether I would grip tight to try and say I wanted to take my wrists out and I wanted to grip it tight. Felt a slightly spongy grip might give me that. So when I take my glove off, I can feel that. Whereas for me, if I've got a glove on, I mean, sometimes I'll even practice without a glove on, I'll be honest. You know, I'm
Yeah.
not. But I think it comes to it's like, it's probably different. I dare say it's probably things that you think of from when you played England stuff. Like when you go and practice, that's still really regimented. Oh, you know, I've got to do this, I've got to put this down. Or,
Yeah.
you know, that whole thing of, you know, when people play, when you take your glove off, where do you put it?
In my back right pocket every time.
See, I can't do that.
Why?
Because I think it makes me look like a golfer.
Oh, Tom.
I know that sounds bizarre.
Yeah. But I fold it. I don't normally have, you know how like some people have really precise with the fingers and I think again it's just such a long time and I think it becomes so automatic. If someone asks me what I do, I take it off and I think I fold it because I don't want to. I've lost so many gloves over the years, but I think I just put it right in my back pocket so that it doesn't get lost. But it's always, mine's always a white glove and it's always a leather glove. Probably the last when I was about 18 or 19, maybe 20, I stopped wearing the kind of synthetic gloves because they're just, and it's always got to be a leather glove, always white.
The thing is, like, one of those things, isn't it? Once you start wearing a really good leather glove, which usually white ones are because they've not had to colour the leather so it's softer, it's better.
Yeah.
As soon as you put a synthetic glove on, like in the winter when we have to wear kind of winter, they don't fit right, do they? They don't.
Dirty.
Yeah, they just that's it.
And those I tried a couple of times in winter to wear not the rain gloves as well, and they don't feel nice. I just think it's this really weird, at least with a really tight white leather glove, it feels as close to skin as possible, whereas everything else feels a bit like floppy. I think with me, but that's again a touchy-feely thing. Lots of golfers are very touchy-feely when it comes to stuff like that because that's.
It's one of the things we're talking about wearing a glove. The amount of times when I'm teaching a beginner and they'll be like, well, why do you only wear one?
Yeah.
I've yet to see somebody give me an absolute cast iron reason why we only wear one glove.
Yeah.
Because everyone.
I think that I wear, and I wouldn't lie. I mean, I wear a glove, not for performance. It is now an ingrained thing. Is because when I watched loads of golf as a junior, everyone wore a glove.
Yeah.
It is purely nothing to do with performance for me. It is now ingrained that it's part of my automatic because I watched Annika Sorenstam. I watched Laura Davis didn't wear a glove, but I watched like Carrie Webb. In fact, I got Carrie Webb's signed glove and Annika Sorenstam's signed glove at the very first Women's British Open at Sunningdale that I went to. And I think after then I was like, oh, leather, white leather. So then I started wearing gloves, and you just think that's bad because that is so influenced by the best players in the world. But you think they're the best players in the world, they must wear it for a reason that it might not be.
But especially when you think of those two, I mean, Sorenstam and Webb, I mean, they pretty much dominated for as long as they wanted to play.
Yeah.
Orthodox, you know, in terms of orthodoxy, they both looked at the target when they were already before they'd even hit the ball, and they just. So you think you think, well, there's a whole load of things they must be doing that are worthwhile me doing.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times, unfortunately, we sometimes pick up on the small things, which could be they wear a glove or like everybody wearing Oakleys for a period of time.
Yeah. God, I had a pair of them as well.
But you kind of see I remember reading a thing about David Duval.
Yeah.
Who, wherever you go on the internet or everything, everybody tells you David Duval. Everybody thinks he's a brilliant fella. I think it was the Ryder Cup in 2002, or last one that was at the Belfry. The European players brought him into their team room afterwards. He's such a nice bloke.
Oh.
Supposed to be a real cracking bloke. But his reason for wearing the sunglasses, he had a brother. His brother, I'm not sure if I could be wrong on this, and he had leukemia or something. But he needed a bone marrow transplant. They tried to take it from David, didn't happen. So his parents split up for it, brother died. So his whole thing at college was how do I stay under the radar? Baseball cap down, sunglasses on.
Wow.
His whole thing. But as he grew and made, eventually started, whatever, he actually turned into a really, really hard bloke. That was just his shield. His way, like, I'm going to hit balls. I'm going to become a great player, but I'm just doing it in my own little bubble.
Yeah.
So, and I have to admit, for a while I was wearing sunglasses when I played because I used to have, we've talked about it, but I had the world's worst temper on a golf course. So I'd wear sunglasses. That was part of my way. I could rage behind the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Rage away, but nobody else could see I was raging.
Yeah.
And that then meant I could keep playing. So
did you wear a hat when you played?
Not really until I started wearing caps in general.
Okay.
So, when I started going out to silly little clubs and wearing baseball caps then. So even now, I will not wear a baseball cap with a golf logo on.
Okay.
And for a period of time, I wouldn't have a golf company's logo on my bag.
Is that because you don't want to look like a golfer?
Also, well, part of the reason was the very first. Well, no, it wasn't the very first. It was the second set of irons I got as a pro. I remember paying full trade for them, so getting nothing off. So I think I bought a set of irons, a new putter, and a no carry bag. And I remember seeing that invoice with absolutely nothing off. Paid the full trade price plus the VAT. Company wouldn't give us anything off. So I'm like, right, I want to play your kit. I'm stripping your name off my bag.
Yeah, why not?
And I was like, if you think for most club pro, teaching pros, we pay for our kit. So I'm like, I'm not having it. And then the whole thing again with the baseball caps is like, I'd rather have a cool baseball cap than a baseball cap with a logo because I'm not getting paid to wear it.
Yeah.
Equally, if somebody said it's X amount and you've got to wear a Stetson on the range, I would probably do it.
Yeah, why not? I'd have worn anything back in the day.
I would now.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I think with in my time, I have probably had maybe 500 baseball caps, I reckon, or 400 baseball caps, because I wore them all the time as a junior, and to the point that you can kind of see my receding hairline, and I would always have like a really weird tan. So I've got skin damage from there and like white forehead, but it was only probably when I went to South Africa, which was really random because it was really sunny then, that I didn't wear, I think it's because I had the white forehead, the Stuart Sink white forehead. But I wore hats all the time. And it is just really random for comfort, because I used to think that if I was, like the horses, the blinkers, like you with your sunglasses, if you kind of have that, you can just like knock everything out, whereas when you haven't got one on, you kind of see everything a bit too much, really. For me, there was just too much to look at.
Yeah, it's ways of just keeping you in that psychological bubble.
Yeah.
Being able to perform, because at the end of the day, there's this whole thing people talk about. It's the underdeveloped part of your brain that hasn't, fear or flight and all that sort of thing. But anything that allows you to stay in there with having that kind of comfort zone that isn't really a comfort zone around you, allows you to perform. It's like Tiger in his red on a Sunday, blue sweater in his white polo on a Sunday. All those little things, they add up and work through. And Tiger's egg cover, crikey, how much money would one of the companies paying to get rid of that scabby old Tiger egg cover? He wouldn't change it, would it?
Yeah. It's bizarre. I remember one girl that was with me in England training. She literally rocked up. So she had got to, I think she got to 3, let's say. I mean, it was like she was pretty min, and it just shows you how good she was. So she rocks up with this like little pencil bag.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, so we're at England training, Bisham Abbey, like all of the, I think England football team, they train there and stuff. And the coach was like, so why have you got like 6 or 7 clubs in your bag, and she said, "Oh, I don't use even numbered clubs."
Right.
So it didn't matter, you know, if they were the best thing ever. She literally had a half set of irons, so she would have, I think, she would have like a 3, a 5, 7, 9, and maybe a pitch and wedge. But she didn't have an 8, or she didn't have a 6, or she didn't have a 4, and you know, so she didn't. You know how Callaway brought out like 4 woods and 2 woods and stuff. She was adamant that she couldn't use any of those either. So literally, our coach at the time, he got us all hitting balls, and then he got us all just to swap clubs around. And I think it was to try and get her to try different things. She went to absolute pot, like she properly went to absolute pot, just trying these even numbers. So again, it's so bizarre. If you get to that level and you are off of 3, you've got to be. She was at so much better than that. To have to adapt to use like half a set of irons.
Yeah, because you think if she could get round that concept in her head, more variability, you know, it's like the thing of where it's a lot of times when I'm fitting and coaching people say, you know, oh, you know, I've got to play forge. I'm like, okay, well, why? Yeah. Oh, it feels so much better. I was like, well, is your putter forged? No.
Yeah.
Are your wedges forged? No. Well, I've got to play forged irons. And forging is essentially just a process. It doesn't, you know, you have to use a certain material to do it, but you can cast out the other material as well.
Do you think some of that's down to ego? I know that's a different story altogether, but do you think some of it's down to ego in terms of, oh, I need to use blades, I need to use, got to have an 8-degree extra stiff driver?
There are golf companies who, over a period of time, deliberately mislabeled their driver lofts. So they were putting 11-degree drivers and putting 10 on the bottom because they knew that players wouldn't do it. I think it was Trevor Immelman when he was with Nike. They used to ground the number off the bottom of the club, so he didn't know what it was. Because he said, if you tell me what I actually need, the chances are I'll work against it. So give me something. So again, if you look at a set of irons where we've got numbers on the bottom, the reality is that there's a specific loft number that we need for each club to create a distance. By saying, well, it's a 7 iron, you say, oh wait, it's a 7 iron. If you say, well, that's a driver, and a wooden driver didn't have a number on the bottom. They were all 13, you know, they were 12, 13 degrees. And that's what people often need. And it's the same often with like with things like having a forged club. It's like, okay, you know, oh, I must be a good player if I'm playing forged. Well, there's plenty of guys out on tour don't play forged. Plenty don't play cavity backs. You know, for a good reason. There's other people who do the others as well. But again, it's where people can often get tied into something that they don't need. You know.
Yeah.
And I say it with, you know, when doing stuff with the PGA, some of the assistants, and you say to them, you know, oh, why do you play that? Why do you play this? You know, that's what I'm supposed to do, isn't it? And then you see somebody who's maybe like come off tour, who's then doing their training, and they look in their bag and it's like a proper bag of spanners. A bag of spanners that makes them a fortune.
Yeah.
It's and maybe sometimes that doesn't work for everybody. You know, you see somebody like McIlroy would be a good example. Changes his kit, you know, a drop of a hat. He'll have new stuff in all the time. And then other guys won't change. I think it's Steve Strickland playing with an 11-year-old set of irons. And they've had to kind of do stuff and things like that. If it's being done for the right reason, if you can get the true reasoning behind it, it can't be argued.
Yeah, because I think there's, and I've talked to some people in the past about organisation. That's what the way I would see it as is, you know, your scenario of one pitch mark, one ball marker, one short and one long tee. That's you organised, so you are fully prepared. It's preparation at the end of the day, and I think the better prepared you are, the less your brain is going to be confused and muddled up with everything else. So all you do is get on with your golf. And I think that's the kind of scenario with golf bags is I wonder how many people in the last 6 weeks have taken their golf bags all apart, who, in terms of who's cleaned them, who's got everything ready, who's got their clubs in order, who's got their bits everywhere in the right place, because it's preparation.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that, surely, if you are fully prepared, that has got to make you a better golfer in the long run, because you don't have the worry of, oh crap, I've left my glove, or I've left my balls, and because that just can't help you on the golf course. If you're stood on the first tee or the second tee and you realise you've got one golf ball left, that can't be that good for you.
It's everybody's slightly different. You know, everybody has their own form of processes, their own form of preparedness. But it's definitely being in that place where you feel comfortable to perform. You know, I always think it's like, we've talked about it, about dress shows and things like that. Part of that is custom fitting to allow you to perform. So somebody like Poulter or Payne Stewart, or I think there was somebody, you even see somebody kind of in different levels of the different areas of the game. Everything that they do is about helping them perform.
Yeah.
You know, he's giving off that aura of, this is how I can stand up there and I can play. You know, everybody else will do what they want to do, but this is how I'm going to do it. Rather than, well, you're going to wear this pair of trousers and you're going to wear that shirt and you're going to wear that hat. I think I look a bit of a prat, but I'll take the money and do it.
Yeah. Poulter, I'm absolutely in love with Poulter. I think he's either a lover or a hate scenario, but on Instagram at the moment he's signing all of his shoes and all of his tops from however many years, and he's got, I mean, literally hundreds of pairs of golf shoes, but the colours are absolutely wild. He's signing them all and they're going to donate the money to the NHS or the equivalent over in America, which I think is amazing. And that is just, he thought he looked amazing. He thought, and he looked, and he was always sharp, whether he looked amazing. I mean, he had a picture of him next to Steffi, and he was wearing, I think he was wearing, they were like either red trousers with rhinestones down the side of them, and the matching like cowboy shirt. And Steffi's just wearing a plain white polo shirt and his like normal trousers. And even he put, I bet you Steffi thought I was a right plonker back in the day. I just think he's done all right from it.
Yeah, it's all about making yourself feel comfortable to do what you can do.
Yeah.
You know, we have a situation. It's not a situation. It's over the last 10 years, you've got one guy in Gloucestershire in the amateur game who has wiped the floor with all of them. He's in his mid to late 30s now. He works full time. Over the winter, he hardly plays at all. But you see him when he turns out, and the visor's on. He's always got a pair of FootJoy Icon shoes. He's always, head to toe. He looks like your stereotypical top level amateur player. And he goes out and he wipes the floor with them all. He gives off that aura of, bang, this is how I'm going to do things. And that's so much what people should be, you kind of trying to think, how are you going to keep your golf game right over there, get yourself ready to play. It's like, what are you trying to portray to everybody else out there?
Yeah.
Who are you trying to say your character is?
Yeah.
Every sport's the same. Beckham, with the way he pushed himself across. Guy with relatively limited skill, you could say, but performed at the top level because he just exuded his personality when he played. Same with someone like Mo Farah as a runner. All these people, all the different sports, superimpose your personality on things. And that's what all these superstitions and all these little bits and bobs are really about. Yeah.
But I think you can, in terms of elite golfers, if like we do it every year with our county girls, and I think you do it with the boys, is what's in your golf bag. So yeah. I think in terms of getting that at a young age, I think even adults should be doing that, because suddenly, again, we've talked about being prepared and having the right things. If they're playing around a golf and they haven't got any food or drink, because that's the way they think that's normal, that isn't normal. And I think it is training people of all ages, and it's not just about the kids, it's of all ages and abilities. You should be eating or drinking or having all your clubs, or having them cleaned, or having a towel, or having sun lotion, or having a hat, or having extra gloves, because that makes you a better golfer in the long run.
Yeah, it just allows you to allow yourself to perform by giving yourself all those tools. You know, golf's a relatively, it seems a mundane sport, but it's a very dynamic action. You're doing 1 second a lot of difficult things. When you're putting, you know, things that Langer found out, if you don't putt in the first, or you don't drink water in the first 9 holes, your ability to putt can reduce by 40% because it's such a fine motor action.
Yeah.
So you imagine, you go out, you go into the pro shop, you buy a bottle of Coke, you drink it all in the first 4 holes, you're now going to start dehydrating because it's not the ideal thing to be drinking. And you wonder why you start 3-stabbing around the middle of the back nine.
Yeah. And then they blame it on their golf games, and then their confidence goes and thinks it's, oh, I've mishit it, or I'm a poor putter, or I'm a poor chipper. And actually, it could have been something quite simple as have 1 more bottle of water.
Yeah, have it in there. And, you know, it's where Swedes are that good, and you look at the guys in the dude. Don't worry, just been knocked over by a load of
That's all right.
No, it's like all those sorts of things. Anything that just allows you to keep your brain working. You know, being hydrated, we talk about, you know, obviously it keeps the brain working well, brain works well, body can work well. But all those things, just everything ties together. You look at the very top level, it's all about marginal gains.
Yeah.
Well, if we go to our level, actually that can make huge differences to a club player. You know, you're just drinking properly, feeding your body properly through the round of golf, not having to search through your golf bag to put something on you because, you know, you went out in the morning, it was a bit misty, and all of a sudden it's scorching and you haven't got a hat with you, and you've got nothing to kind of stop yourself getting sunburnt because you've had a number 2 cut because you've been on lockdown for the last 3 months. You know,
it would be interesting if we did a survey with all the Kendleshire members, how much they drink on the round of golf, what they drink, what they eat, how much do they eat, just if they could safely say what's in their golf bag, whether it's summer, spring, winter, autumn, do they change anything, what do they do differently, because these were bits that like you said, if it helps them 1% is blooming massive with some people. So just think it's not all about the technical aspect that everyone is obsessing with. It is the whole, I don't want to use the holistic approach, but it is part of, will help your golf game if you are, sorry, that's the dog barking. If you want to get better, you've got to look at all aspects. It isn't just about how you putt or chip or hit shots. It's the whole bag thing.
Yeah, you can't chip and putt better if you get onto the 3rd green, you've got your first lob shot of the day over a bunker out of the 3rd foot rough, and you ain't got a towel on your bag, and you've got nothing to then spit on the club to kind of clean it down, or any tee pegs or anything, and all of a sudden you've got, you know, if you were, say, hitting a 50-yard shot from the rough, you are going to lose around about 55% of the spin because it's from the rough.
Whoa. If
you've got even more dirt between that club face and the ball, you're going to lose even more. And equally, this is weird, this is probably a whole different topic. If you've also got dirt on that club face in, say, your 4 hybrid or 5 hybrid or your 5 iron, hitting from the middle of the fairway, you will actually get more spin. So all of a sudden the ball will just do that and die. And you think technically,
is that because it's kind of the ball goes
almost the lack?
Is that with it?
Well, it's to do with the lack of loft, then starts to create the friction, and because the club's moving faster, the initial part of there's 3 stages of impact, which is basically slide, roll, and then launch. The ball's moving faster in the slide, which means it can then, when it goes into the roll phase, essentially can create more revs of spin. So you can, once you go below a mid iron, if you're getting material between club face and ball, you can actually get more spin. You won't necessarily get a flyer.
It's not, isn't it?
You think that's...
Oh, I've learned something new today, Tom. Thank you ever so much.
You think that, how can you stop that happening? Have a towel on your bag.
Yeah. But it is amazing when you look at, like, if people come for golf lessons, when you look at their kit, 1, clubs aren't clean anyway. And then you kind of look and you go, well, your wedge hasn't got any grooves on. And then you ask why you can't spin a ball or compress the ball. That's the next one. And then you look at the bag and they've got 74 golf balls, 73 of which they found. And they're all a whole mixture of crap. And then the one that they did buy or they won is a solid golf ball, but they just need to use it more often. So I think, again, that's a different subject altogether, golf balls, but it's making everything more
Give everything to give it a chance, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that we just kind of like tie one arm around, like behind our back when we do that, because it doesn't help you mentally, it doesn't help you technically. And I think that's what people need to consider a bit more, it's just not obsessing about your golf game, it's actually opening your golf bag and see what's in it before we get out and start playing again.
Yeah, because you could be doing things and it's another factor. You blame your technique, where you've got another factor that's not allowing your technique to show you what it can do, not allowing it to happen. And that's what it all comes back to me. Give yourself a chance.
It. Well, perhaps we shall do this conversation again when we actually get back to playing and see what people are doing and if they've listened.
We're gonna have a real laugh at looking at the relics in our golf bags. Well, not mine, not yours.
Yeah, mine are nice and shiny now. Mine are dying to get out. Mine are.
I'm just hoping mine are still there.
Who knows, Tom? Who knows? I don't even know if the hut's still there. Someone did send me a picture. We've got nice plants at the front now that look pretty, so I'm waiting for them. God knows what they are. And I don't know who's looking after them. But yeah, so I think it's when people are out there, the next few weeks are going to be very random if we are out on the golf course, but it's making sure people still stay safe so we can stay out there and still, I mean, what are they going to expect when we get out if no one's been hitting many balls for the last 7 weeks, is it now, or 6 weeks?
Yeah. But it's like, I have to admit, I've done a couple of things with a couple of the county players and things like that, saying, look, that's what you've got to prep yourself to do. Everybody stood on a mat trying to hole into a cup. All of a sudden you come out on greens and all of a sudden you're going to have an uphill putt that's one speed and a downhill putt that's different speed. How are you going to work around that? But again, that's a whole other thing we can go into.
Yeah. I think it's been interesting seeing people's videos and how we've adapted to a situation. I think the whole world has adapted to it. I think it is brilliant what most people have done. I mean, some of the setups people have got in their gardens are amazing. But at the end of the day, like we talked about before, is how useful is it with what they're practicing? I mean, we will only know, I guess, when we're back out and it's all been. Oh, hello. Yeah. It's all. Sorry.
All right.